credit collection agency or a law firm that's working on behalf of the original credit furnisher, because this will not cancel any debt from the original credit furnisher, but it will cancel a debt from a collection agency. Now, let me explain the law to you, because sometimes people get this all mixed up. They're like, I don't understand, Monica. I have the same debt on my credit report twice. Well, that's illegal, okay? So maybe the original credit furnisher has the debt on your credit report, and maybe also a credit collection agency at the same time has the same original debt on your credit report. That is illegal. Only one of them can exist on your credit report at any given time, which means you dispute both of them. But usually what ends up happening is that when a bank sells the debt to a credit collection agency or a law firm, what they end up doing is that they pull themselves off your credit report. At least legally, that's what they're supposed to do. And then they throw it into the hands of the credit collection agency or law firm, and then they put their information on your credit report. That's the way that it's supposed to work out, okay? And so when that happens, then you may as well, thank your lucky stars, because now you have this secret letter that could essentially cancel that debt, because very likely they're not going to be able to prove what we call chain of title. Okay. In fact, if any time you are sued by a credit collection agency, you simply file a motion. You don't answer the lawsuit. What you do is you immediately file a motion to dismiss for lack of standing, because due to the fact that they don't have chain of title. Chain of title means that they have to show proof of how they ended up with the debt, since you don't have a legal contract with them. That is the law, folks. That is the law. Okay. So before anybody wants to throw any comments down about that can't work that way. Okay. It's the law. It's the law. It's the law. It's the law. I don't know how many more times I got to tell you. It is the law, okay? So they have to show proof through what we call a chain of title to show how it ended up from the original creditor to them. How did it transfer? It's almost like transferring a title of an automobile, okay? How did it go from the original owner to the new owner? We need to see the paperwork, okay? 99% of the time, they don't have the paperwork. So then you might ask, well, Monica, why do these people even bother filing lawsuits to begin with? Well, the answer is because most people are too stupid to show up to court. And that is how they win. 70% of the time, people do not show up to court because they're too afraid to face their demons. You should always show up to court, because again, don't show up to court until you actually file your motion to dismiss for lack of standing. And then when you show up to court, when they actually, when the court actually reviews the motion and decides to, rule on the motion, you'll be there. And the opposing party, the plaintiff, has to show proof. The plaintiff always has the burden of proof on their shoulders. So whenever they assert that you owe something, or whenever they're suing you, the burden of proof is on their shoulders that you owe it, which means they better show up with some paperwork. Now, here's the other thing that a lot of people don't know, is that collection agencies don't get the paperwork, the original contracts, from the creditor. And even if they did, listen up, folks, even if the collection agency somehow miraculously got this massive stack of original contracts and agreements from the original credit furnisher, guess what? Their name isn't on it. So it's like, okay, that's great. You just showed proof that I had an account with Capital One and I agreed to this credit card with Capital One. Yay, good for you. But where's your name on this contract? Well, the name is not anywhere because you're not on anywhere, which means I don't owe you the money because I don't have a contract or an agreement with you. See where I'm going with this? A lot of people make these false assumptions that they assume because somebody put something on their credit report, therefore they must owe it. And the answer is you don't necessarily owe it. You have to get proof, and this is the letter that will do it. So for those of you that are having problems with credit collection agencies calling you, texting you, sending you emails, sending you physical mail, and you want to get rid of them, but at the same time you want to cancel your debt out, here is your secret letter. So again, for those of you that are getting harassed by creditors, I've had a lot of people who go into my school group, which by the way, if you want to communicate with me directly, don't call my office, don't email me directly because you will not get a response. However, if you want to communicate with me by way of DM directly, yes, with me, not a bot, not my assistant, with me, go to school.com/Monica